It took me a while to remember this court case. It came about in 1875, and it was argued October 1st, 1870. That's when it was argued. October 1st of 1875. It was settled in 1876. What this was about was the Bill of Rights. There's a very serious misunderstanding about the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights does not grant rights to the people. The Bill of Rights is the list of the fundamental, unalienable rights endowed in man by his Creator that defines what it means to be a free and independent person. The rights which must exist to ensure that government only governs with the consent of the people. At one time, this was even understood by the Supreme Court in the United States versus CRUIKSHANK in 1876, the first case in which the court had an opportunity to interpret the Second Amendment. It stated that the rights confirmed by the Second Amendment is not a right granted by the Constitution. Neither is it in any manner dependent upon that instrument for its existence. The repeal of the Second Amendment would no more render the outlawing of firearms legitimate than repeal of the Due Process Clause of the Fifth Amendment. And that would authorize people to be imprisoned and killed at will. A government that arbitrates any of these Bill of Rights with or without the majority approval forever acts illegitimately and becomes tyrannical and loses the moral right to govern. You can't compromise that kind of stuff. Now, this is an important thing, an important law that was settled in the Supreme Court. Let's see, I'll go down here a little bit. Kind of excuse me. Yeah, the powers are limited. I can't remember where it was at. You'll have to bear with me here. Bear with me a little bit here. Get down through here. Well, guys, I kind of missed it, I think, somewhere along in there. Yeah, I know, that's driving me crazy too. Anyway, you got the gist of it. That's what was important. The second, okay, the rights to be specified is that of bearing arms for lawful purpose. It's not a right granted by the Constitution. You inherit it. Neither is it in any manner dependent upon the Constitution for its existence. The Second Amendment declares that it shall not be infringed, but this has been seen means no more than it shall be infringed by Congress. This is one of the amendments that has no other effect than to restrict the powers of the national government. Okay? That's a very important they can't take away a right you already have. The Constitution guarantees that they will protect that right. That's what the Bill of Rights are for. Those rights, they're unalienable rights. They're not granted by the Constitution, but you inherited this the day you were born. Do you understand that? You had these rights as soon as you were born. This is something to remember. Maybe the NRA could use it down there, because you just can't restrict people. Hang on a second. Let's go down here to WikiLeaks, or whatever that's called. Okay. The earliest one to deal with the application of Bill of Rights. Now, let's see. Among other provisions, this law, what law? The Enforcement Act of 1870. It had been designed to allow federal enforcement and prosecution of action by the KKK and other secret vigilante groups in preventing black people from voting and murdering them. Among other provisions, the law made it a felony for two or more people to conspire to deprive anyone of his constitutional rights. Among the charges included violating the freeman's right to lawfully assemble, to vote, and to bear arms. You can't take away anybody's constitutional rights. And this thing about, that they were conspiring to deprive someone of their constitutional rights reminds me of those kids marching, of those banks trying to intimidate people with well, we're not going to do business with you. They are conspiring to deprive people of their constitutional rights. Let me back us up just a hair and get over here. I want you to see this, because I don't want you to think that I'm talking through my behind. They made it a felony for two or more people to conspire to deprive anyone of his constitutional rights. And that's what those banks are doing. That's what members of Congress are doing. That's what a lot of organizations are trying to pull, throwing money at these kids to get them to march, and the kids don't even know what they're marching for. They just say, well, it's time out of school, Anyway, I wanted you to know about this. You know as much as I do now. I just couldn't remember that guy's name. Yeah. I remembered it. I remembered the everything behind it. I just couldn't remember what his name was. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.